Black Phone is the new Blumhouse horror movie that just released in theaters. I watched this last night. And I would say this. When you see a Blumhouse logo in front of a movie, you either have two feelings. Oh shit, this is not going to be good. Or, um, that was actually pretty good. So, you know, I would say this is a pretty good one. This movie is really neat. First of all, everybody was pretty interested in this concept, right? You get this movie about this kid who's kidnapped by this serial killer who's killing all these kids, right? And all of those previous victims who have died are now calling him through this phone that's down in the basement and to give him advice on how to get out of the situation and everything, or how to survive. And it's a really interesting movie and concept. It's because of that. What I really liked about this movie is I just watched the first Saw movie recently, and this is very Saw-esque. And what I mean by that is, so you have this kid who's trapped in this basement, this one location. He's trapped there. Kind of like how in the first Saw, you have these characters who are trapped in this one location. So most of this movie takes place in this one location, and you have this one threat of this serial killer. Never knowing what he's going to do, what kind of traps he's laying out, that type of thing. Meanwhile, that you also have this investigative story with these detectives. They're trying to figure out what this kid is, who this serial killer is. So it's very, very Saw-esque. And I really like that about it. It's very creepy. Ethan Hawke's character has this mask that has a very interchangeable face that's made to convey certain emotions. You have one that you see on the poster with all the teeth. Then you have one that's very frowning, one that's very vengeful and angry. Very, very creepy and interesting. And it was very well paced. It was incredibly well acted, especially from these children. Like most of this movie is child actors, which was very shocking. A lot of them had to like give very intense dramatic performances where they had to cry and stuff within this movie. And that was very good acting from all around from this cast. And they just it was a super interesting movie. It's kind of the movie that gets you really engaged where you're watching it and you're starting to put the pieces together. You're like, oh, it's probably that guy. And then you realize, no, it's not that guy. It's really interesting. And none of my actually predictions came true, but that's okay because this movie's pulling you along for the story and making you engaged and making you have theories about what's going to happen next. And that's the sign of a really good movie here. This is one of the best modern horror movies in a long time in terms of like general audience horror movies. Because, yeah, we have great horror movies like The Lighthouse and The Witch and stuff. But those are more like artistic horror movies that are really good for what they are. But in terms of like a general audience horror movie, this is one of the best ones in a long time. You guys gotta check this one out. It's incredible to watch with the crowd, hear them gasp, hear them react. It's awesome.